Well, hello there, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're safe and well. And last time we were talking about the essential items of equipment. This time in this video we're going to be talking about the extra bits and pieces that you can pick up along the way. The non-essentials but the nice to haves that can make your shooting a bit more comfortable and sometimes enjoyable. So that being said, let's see the intro, shall we? Okay, where to start then? Well, I've got my list down here of things and trying to work out what to include on the list. We'll start with the small items and then sort of work our way up. So first off, pellets. Of course you can carry your pellets around in your pocket. You can also carry your pellets around in the tin. No reason why you can't just open your tin up, stick that on the ground or on your shooting bench and shoot from there if you want to. Little tip there, what I do when I take my spare pellets in the pocket of my shooting bag, don't want them opening up and tipping out in the bag. I've got these little strips of inner tube and you can put those around the tin and stops the tin opening up, saves you having to use the tape. Little tip there for you. So there's all manner of pouches and things you can buy. This is the pouch that I use when I'm shooting springers. Goes around your neck, and the nice thing about this is it's spring loaded, so you can basically open it up and get a pellet out one-handed while you're holding your rifle with the other or whatever. So that's an option. Another popular option here, particularly I know it's amongst HFT shooters, a lot of people use these. You've got these little cases with the foam inserts in. You can put your range card up on the inside. Nice thing about this is you can put all your pellets in. You get to see the skirts, so you can see that whether you've got any deformed skirts when you're putting them in, and you can carry just the right amount of pellets that you need for the course. If you don't want to buy one and you've got a little tin around, get a tin, bit of foam insert and either a hot nail or a soldering iron, and you can make your own. So that's pellet pouches, pellet tins. Next thing we're going to move up to is shooting gloves. Now lots of people don't use a glove at all. There's no reason to use a glove, but you might find if you want to try it that shooting with a glove's more comfortable, especially if you're shooting HFT and you're holding on to the pegs. Sometimes you can get splinters and things like that. Sometimes people just find it a bit more comfortable. So pretty good variety of gloves. You've got the fingerless gloves for the summer, so you can get a bit more feel on things. You've got the full finger glove, obviously. The main reason that people wear these gloves really is for the rubber on them, to give you some sort of purchase. So if you're not sure, I mean these gloves can get a bit expensive, but if you're not sure whether you need a glove, best thing to do, because you're only after the grip, is try something like this cheap DIY rubber palmed glove. It'll give you just as much grip, and you can pick these up for a few pound in a DIY shop. You only need, obviously no needed left hand one, so give them a try. Some people, I've seen people shooting with these, no reason why you can't, does the job, saves you a bit of cash. So that's gloves. Another thing as well I found when I started shooting HFT, probably because I'm a bit of a wuss really, but because you're doing a lot of prone shots and you're on the ground, I found that my elbows were taking a bit of a hammering. And sometimes if your knees too, if you're doing the kneeling shots. So I tend to wear elbow protectors under my jacket or shirt or whatever I'm wearing. So some few choices that you can get from those. You can pick them up on eBay. There's these that I tried, which are sold for airsoft and paintball, and they've got the rubber protected elbow. Personally, I found that these, they roll around a little bit if the plastic bit doesn't entirely protect, fit the size of your elbow. So I moved on to these just slip-on ones with quite a thin foam insert on them. They tend to wear out quite quickly, but you can, what I've done with these is you can cut the inside and make a little pocket so that you can replace the foam to replace them. But to be honest, if you go somewhere like eBay, you can pick these up fairly cheaply anyway. I don't use knee protectors myself, but I know some people that do, kneeling down. And again, DIY shop, a lot of trades use knee protectors, so you can pick up some of those that work perfectly. So that's the first few bits and pieces. What we're going to do now is move on to bags and mats. So because I need a bit more space for that, we're going to go outside in the garden. It's a nice day, why not? So here we are out in the garden. It's a lovely day today, so why not? Plus a bit more space out here. Some of the things that we're going to look at here are the larger items, so not so easy to do on the table in there. And I hope that in future videos we'll be out here a lot more on the garden range, going through techniques and tips and stuff like that. So there you go. So to begin with then, let's talk about shooting mats. This is my shooting mat. As you can see, quite a large item. Folds up with these Velcro tabs. And obviously the idea of a shooting mat is to give you a little bit of comfort, so that when you're shooting on rough ground, it is sort of thin strip of foam. It's real foam pads really. Not only that, but also keep you out of the mud and the water. Sometimes places that you shoot, if you didn't have a shooting mat, you'd be lying in sort of muddy puddles and stuff. So do you need a shooting mat to begin with? Well, what I've found in my experience is that when I go to HFT comps, we generally turn up at a peg, and you've got two shooting mats because both shooters are there, and you end up only using one rather than dragging two round. So for 50% of the time, this gets left by the first peg I'm shooting, and I go and pick it up later. So the chances are that if you're just starting out shooting HFT to begin with, you probably won't need one of these, because whoever you shoot with will have one that you can use. If you don't want to shoot with a shooting mat at all, you can just wear waterproofs, and then you can lie in whatever you want to and avoid getting muddy and wet. So that's something to think about. As well as these fold-up ones, as you can imagine, take up quite a bit of space. You can get the roll-up ones. Only thing that I'd say about the roll-up ones, one of the disadvantages that I see with that is that as you roll them up, the bottom surface that's all muddy then comes into contact with the top surface, transfers the mud and the water, so you end up with two muddy surfaces. So something to think about, but whatever floats your boat. So that's the shooting mat. Next thing is shooting cushions. Okay. So this is sort of like standard fare for a shooting cushion. You'll see people using these in FT because most of their shots are taken in a sitting position, and they sit on a bag like this. This is actually quite light, zip pocket at the front for bits and pieces, and it's full of those polystyrene balls, so it's quite light, and it does sort of shape itself to whatever's on it. You can use these in HFT for positional shots, specifically for the kneeling shots. Okay, and these are used to bridge the gap through your instep and up the inside of your knee. And if they're long enough, like this one, you can actually put your knee on it as well, so it avoids the need to use a knee pad if you've got, if you're particularly sensitive knees. So that's one type. You'll see that you can buy the roll bag types or whatever, but I ended up making my own. This is just rolled up bit of foam, rolled up to the correct diameter, using just a bit of odd foam that I'd lying around and some duct tape. But you could get like a cheap yoga mat or a cheap camping mat. They don't cost much, and cut that up and roll it up, and you'll have something that's far cheaper than the ones that you can buy, you know, made for the job, because they tend to be, this sort of thing tends to be quite expensive. And so why have I got two? Why have I got that mat and why have I got this? Well, in the winter when it's really muddy, I shoot in wellies, and then wellies are, as you can imagine, they're very unforgiving, and when you're doing the kneeling shot, they don't move. So you're actually sitting on top of the sole. So you need something a little bit more substantial to fill in that gap between the your instep and the ground. So that's why I've got one of these. This is actually the second one that I made. The first one that I made, that I gave away to somebody else, I used the pipe insulation. You know, the circular pipe insulation. I had a length for that in the garage, and I just cut that to length and wound them all together with tape and use that. So different ways of making them or whatever, but just something to think about. Save you a bit of cash. What we got next on the list? Oh right, okay, yeah. Range stalls. Okay. You can be, when you go and shoot on an HFT course, you can be in the woods and roundabout and thereabouts for quite a few hours. You know, it's at least a couple of hours that you're hanging around, and if you're knocking on a bit, like I'm getting that way, and but certainly there are people who are a little bit older than me that shoot as well, it can get a bit tiring spending all that time standing up. So sometimes it's a good idea to have a seat or a stool with you. A lot of people use these proprietary shooting stools, you know, the shooting sticks that fold out and things. But a couple of ideas here. I mean, I got myself this cheap old camping stool from eBay to use that. But also you've got, if you're a hunter, you might want something that you can use in the hide. Sorry, the sun's in my eyes now, so you might want to use something in your hide, or that you can take hunting. So you could have what I'm sitting on. I'll just lift this up. And this is basically a bucket with a rotating lid on, and you can, as you see, it's got pockets on the front, so you can put stuff in there, and you can open that up for storage as well. So plenty of storage there. So I know a few people that use these for HFT. Say if you go hunting, got dual use there as well. So that's something to think about. So what's next on my list? Gun bags. Okay. Again, multitude of choices for your gun bags. You can spend as much as or as little as you like, but obviously if you're going to be traipsing around the woods in the depths of winter and backwards and forwards, sometimes it can be a fair old walk from where you park your car or where you arrive to get to where the shooting's going. You want something that's going to hold up and you know, last and provide some value. Now you'll probably hear talk of a lot of these bags made by one particular company that people tend to use, but they are very expensive. I myself, being a cheapskate, as you've probably imagined by now, went for a cheaper option, and I can highly recommend it actually. The bag that I use, I have no affiliation with this company or with anybody that sells them, by the way. I'm just a consumer, but I use one of these BSA gun bags, and this is my first and only bag that I use in comps. Got plenty of storage in it. It's a nice sort of size. I've only found one occasion where my rifle didn't fit in here, and that was easily rectified by just unscrewing the moderator so that it fit. But the nice thing about this bag is it's very hard wearing. You can wash the outside, and also it's useful, if I can find them. Oh. it comes with these shoulder straps that you can put on, and if you've got to walk a fair way, especially if you're, you know, one thing that you'll find if you're a Springer shooter compared to a PCP shooter is your Springer's probably going to be twice as heavy as your PCP. So walking around using just the handles at the top is going to make your arm ache after a not too far walking. So the nice thing about this bag, like others I suppose, is you can put these shoulder straps on, chuck the bag on your back, and your hands are free. It's a lot more comfortable for walking. So anyway, that's my view on these bags. This obviously saved quite a bit of money on buying a bag like this as well. But there are other similar bags, and look around and see what suits you. Right. We've done range tools, we've done bags, we've done grub slips. Oh, one last thing to talk about while we move into here. I have mentioned, oh, I'm going out of shot. It's all very professional, this, isn't it? I've mentioned about the fact that if you're shooting HFT, you're going to be out in all weathers. Sometimes you're shooting in the rain. Almost definitely during the winter, you're going to be shooting in the mud. So you don't necessarily want your nice clean gun bag to get completely muddy, the same as your shooting mat will. So that company that I mentioned that sell what I consider to be quite expensive bags, they are good, but I'm not sure whether they're that good to be that price. They do sell this rather neat cover, gun bag cover, which is actually quite good value. And what you can do with this, even with my bag, is you can slip this cover on, and you've turned your nice normal shooting bag into a waterproof bag. But this is totally waterproof, so any mud and water on the outside won't get into your bag, and that will make your bag rainproof and mud-proof. And I think these are about £15 or something, which for I thought was quite good value for what it is. Alternatively, if you don't want to get one of these, you can go and get a rucksack cover. They make similar sort of things, although it's not designed to go on a gun bag like this one is, but you can get a rucksack cover that will fit and protect your gun bag just as well, and around the same price as well. So there we go, that's the last thing. So that's all I've got from the garden. So now we're going to go back inside into the kitchen to finish off. Okay, so we're back inside just to finish up, and this channel is not all about HFT. I'm trying to include a little bit of sort of air gunning in general. So what I wanted to talk about now, just to finish up, is gun rests, bags and rests and things like that you can use on a, well, you can use on a shooting mat if you want to, if you haven't got a peg to practice with, or you can use on a shooting table. And first off, probably one of the most common is the filled bag. Now these, usually buy these unfilled, and if you go online, there's always plenty of discussion about what the best thing to put in the bag is. You'll find underneath there's this Velcro tube that you can fill it through. Personally, the cheapest and the best thing that I found to fill mine was rice, because you can. I bought a few bags of long grain rice fairly cheaply from the supermarket. Got a nice weight to it, still allows you to shape it and everything. I haven't found I keep this in the shed at the end of the garden, and it's probably been there about a year now. No sign of any rodent activity on it, and it hasn't got mouldy. But other people talk about using cat litter. You've got the polystyrene balls and things like that. But these bags unfilled are very cheap and quite a useful thing to have. You can, you know, mount gun on it loads of different ways to get the level that you want. So that's one thing. A lot of other people, they prefer to use a more rigid structure. I got this one recently. This was reviewed if you want to see a review of this, I think Andy's Airgun Reviews on YouTube, AAR, he reviewed this. I think this came from his company, Vector Air, and this is not a bad, if you like this sort of rest, this is quite a useful rest to have. I say a bit more rigid than the bag, raises up and down, the legs go in and out. There are other things like it. You can get a similar rest, forget what they call it now, but it's got like a little sandbag on the top. So that's another alternative you can use. Then if you're out hunting, I do a bit of hunting, and I got this because I wanted something to protect my gun from the top of the fence posts. This is just filled, this is really light, filled with polystyrene balls, clips on easy, it's easy to carry around, got a bit of that non-slip mat in there, and there's a little pocket in the front if you need to carry stuff around in it. Things like that are useful. You can also get similar things like this, like little sandbags. But one of the things that I was intending to do actually was grab an old sock and a polythene bag, fill it with sand, and make my own sandbag out of an old sock. But I'll get round to doing that eventually. So that's rests, all extra little bits and pieces that we've covered here that are not essential. But like any sport and any hobby, you pick things up along the way. You buy things because you think they're a good idea at the time, and then you find that perhaps you don't use them very often. But oh, talking about things that you don't use very often, I've just forgotten one thing. If you want to go a little bit up from this, you might see on other videos people when they're shooting on off a table on a range, they've got a bit more of an upmarket rest. Well, I've got this thing here. If you're zeroing a gun, you want something a bit more stable to put the gun on, so that you're taken out of the equation when you're zeroing and testing and things. Then something like this, if I can fit it in, you know, suits the job. I shopped around for this one. This is a Nighthawk. This is made by Nighthawk. There are others. You can get plastic ones, things like that. But you might find something like that useful. Say, I only ever use it for when I'm sort of checking zeros or shooting a rifle where I don't want me moving around to become an issue in what I see and stuff. So yeah, so that's something else. Nearly forgot that one, but there we go. So that's all I have for this episode. What we're going to do now, I've got all this stuff out of the way. I need to revisit the scopes, because after I did the little scope bit in the essential items, there were some other bits and pieces that I didn't that I forgot to mention in there. So I need to do another video on scopes, which will be the next one, and then we're going to start moving into the meat and potatoes, talking about the process of actually shooting and setting your gun up and actually shooting, and how the whole shooting techniques and how you can improve your accuracy in the way you shoot your gun. So hopefully you find that a bit more interesting, in which case don't forget to like and subscribe to this video. Doesn't cost you anything, totally free. If you hit the thumbs up button, it means that this video will be recommended to other people that might be interested, so more people will get to see it. And if you subscribe and then hit the notification bell, when I put that next video up and subsequent videos, you will get a notification so you know that it's there on YouTube, ready for you to watch. Okay, so thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.